Hi everybody, I'm Tony at UIP Interface Brief, and today is day 16 of the 100 Days of Labbing. It has been a pretty good 2 weeks. If anyone out there has been labbing with me, you should be very proud of yourselves. Even though it's only been 2 weeks, 2 weeks is a good stride. We got a good stride going forward. So I kind of wanted to do like a week in review, because tomorrow I'm going to start a long live lab, and I'm not going to do a wrap-up video, and then Sunday is my cheat day, is my day off. So I'm not going to see or hear from anybody until Monday. So a couple of things I wanted to share with you guys is tonight I built a really cool lab topology that we're going to be able to utilize and build tons of logical topologies onto. This is something that is going to be used on a little side project that I have, but also throughout this 100 days of labbing, as I've been doing these streams and as I've been doing the videos, people have asked me, where do you get your labs? And someone posted most recently, hey, GNS3 has great labs, GNS3 Vault, INE, CBT Nuggets, and YouTube. There are tons and tons and tons of resources out there that have really great labs. Most of the labs I do, I make myself, except for obviously when I'm doing labs provided by a workbook or something like I'm going to do tomorrow. I do myself, and normally I just kind of take some routers and throw them around and connect them and try to say, like, you know, what would be a complicated way to do this, because I want to approach something from sort of the most complicated way, because the simple ways are most obvious. So that's not always the best way to do things, but that is sometimes how I do things. So most of the labs I do, I build myself, and I normally don't have them planned out ahead of time. So I can't share them out with people to be able to work on ahead of time. So what I did is I went ahead and built a couple of generic topologies that I'm going to put in my public Dropbox folder that people can download. And as we do streams like this, people can download, they can fire up the labs, and they can get to work right on them. So I built them in two flavors. I built them in VIOS, and I built it in IOL. So whichever sort of images you're sporting, you should be able to play along here. That will be something I'm probably going to start next week, is starting introducing these topologies. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little sneak peek. This is something I'm working with right now. I call it the 8-shooter. All right, that's enough. Okay, we talked about the lab build. Last week when I did my live lab, I did the INE Foundation Lab 1 from the CCIE Routing and Switching V5 workbook from INE. And for about the first hour, I had a lot of trouble getting my lab started. And I went ahead and just hit start all nodes. And I didn't know it at the time, but the lab had actually crashed. And there were some symbols next to the routers that I wasn't familiar with. Luckily for us, there's someone who can help us. He's over in the LAN Tamers Discord channel, which I have posted a link in this stream. And he can help us out with some of the viral stuff, one of the developers there. the EVNG stuff, he's one of the developers there. And he had pointed me to their document. They made a really long, really well-written, let me see if I have it, really well-written document. I don't have it up here. I'll try to put a link to it. It's on evng.net, their documentation. Anyhow, it sort of outlines all of those little symbols and problems and the reasons why I couldn't get the lab started, and I floundered for about an hour until someone in the chat was able to help me, and that was the LAN Tamer himself, which helped me get my lab back on track. Little did I know, all I had to do was click the Wipe All Nodes button and then start them in groups. So I did go ahead and pre-stage my lab tonight for tomorrow's big lab, and I got all the nodes fired up. So I'm going to be starting bright and early tomorrow morning, probably by 7 a.m. I might start earlier, and that's because my wife and I have something we have to do tomorrow afternoon. We're going to a wedding, and so I need to be wrapped up this lab by about 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock. Okay, so the lab is a go. I am ready for the Foundation lab number 2. I have my materials printed. Remember I told you I don't really work with another monitor, so I go ahead and I print my materials ahead of time. I have my topology here and my tasks, and that's what I'll be working from, sort of a old-fashioned way on paper. I have a couple of notes here on the side. Studio changes. So I don't have an official studio. I have an extra room in my house. I call it the office. I got this lovely whiteboard wall. It is floor to ceiling, wall to wall. I painted it with whiteboard paint. That was a huge project. I don't recommend anyone do it. It didn't turn out nearly as well as it would have been if I just bought a giant whiteboard. So I went ahead and purchased a new microphone. I think I showed you guys last stream, as well as I bought myself a scene switcher from Stream Deck, and that allows me to do things like introduce this camera and move myself around and black out the screen and also come back in. Also allows me to turn music on and off, put my overlays on and off. You can see at the bottom the Twitter feed. One of the reasons I made these couple of small investments, first of all, I got everything on Amazon Prime on Prime Day, and they were both really good deals. And so I went ahead and grabbed them. The Stream Deck is something I had actually never heard of, and one of my coworkers said, sort of jokingly, hey, Tony, you should get this for your stream. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, hey, that is pretty cool. So I went ahead and grabbed it. And one of the reasons is the time that I spend making the videos, and maybe I mentioned this on yesterday's stream, the time that I spend making the videos was a lot in recording the videos, editing the videos, rendering the videos, making the files, uploading them to YouTube, and sharing them out. Something that would normally, if I had a 15-minute video, it would take me 20 minutes to edit it. It would take me 15 to 20 minutes to render it. So I'm already into it about an hour right there, plus uploading. So I wanted to streamline this process. And so I wanted to get a couple of some gear that would help me be able to produce streams with the same quality as the videos. So I did all this editing and moving my screen around and cutting in and out from my desktop to the cameras. I did all that in post. I did that in editing. And what I wanted to do is be able to do that live. So all I have to do is make a little stream like this, and it automatically gets uploaded to YouTube, hopefully making myself a little more efficient, which gives me more time to devote to my studies, because that is priority number one. So that's my changes to the studio. Let me know what you guys think. I'm trying to increase the quality here. I don't want it to be same old, boring type of stream. So I'm sort of new to this. So if there's any tips or tricks you can give me, send them over. I'm happy to read them. You can find me on Twitter at the handle on the screen. Another thing I wanted to talk about, this is my week in review, so this is sort of everything I've done this week all put together. The Land Tamer and I have started a collaboration project, and it's something where we both get to work together on something, and that hasn't been released yet, but it is upcoming, and actually we haven't talked about an official release day, but I think we're going to do it in the next couple of days. And so I wanted you all to be aware of that and be looking forward to that. It's going to be something pretty cool and something that hopefully we can do regularly, and that doesn't interfere with either of our studies. In fact, it's designed to be able to help both of us, and hopefully it helps all of you too. So I hope whether you're studying for CCIE, CCNP, CCNA, or any other sort of certification where you need to dedicate some time, I hope if these videos aren't technically helpful for you, I hope they're at least motivationally helpful for all of you to know that I'm out here labbing, and so should you. Okay, and so tomorrow's lab is going to be the INE Workbook Foundation Lab 2. I do want to say that if you go ahead and go over to INE's website and you click on, I think their products at the top. In fact, let's see if we can navigate there right now. You come over here to Training Solutions, drop down to Workbooks, and the CCIE Routing and Switching Workbook is right here, and it's $2.99. Okay, and that gives you the workbook and all of the labs contained within. In fact, it gives you the lab that I'm going to be doing tomorrow, which is the Foundation Labs right here. Gives you a little paragraph breakdown about that. I wanted to say I really think there's a lot of value in this. If you're at the position where you can afford it, I definitely recommend the workbook. If you go through these labs, this will be your one of your absolute best hands-on experiences. And this is exactly where I'm getting my labs from for tomorrow. Okay. So I won't be sharing the topology with you guys, and I won't be sharing the actual tasks with you guys. So I won't be breaking any copyright there. So if you guys want to see exactly what I'm working with, get the book. It's definitely worth it. And if you got some spare change laying around, go ahead and grab the All Access Pass. The All Access Pass is definitely worth it. They have a lot of really great video content. I've had an Access Pass now for about 1.5 years, and now I'm just working off the workbook. And if you guys are thinking about boot camps, definitely get in on a boot camp. You can see at the top of the screen there, they have a bring a friend with you. So I think you get one free. So maybe 2 people can split the cost on one and go about it that way. Okay, so I would definitely wanted to recommend that. That's what I'm going to be working from tomorrow. So if you want to lab along with me, definitely grab yourself the workbook. It's going to be the material I use for tomorrow. Okay, that is sort of my weekend review. Tomorrow is going to be a long lab. I anticipate probably 5 or 6 hours. I think the last time it took me 7.5 hours total. That included about an hour in the beginning just getting the lab set up. And this time I don't have to do that. So as soon as my coffee kicks in, I will be labbing straight away, and I hope all of you can join me. Tonight, I'm going to go back up to bed, and I'm going to take my study book with me. I have the CCIE Routing and Switching V5 Volume 1, and I'm actually back to basics. I'm actually going to be reviewing spanning tree. That's right, I said spanning tree. And that's because on the last foundation lab I did last week, there was a task in there that was specific about topology change notifications, TCN, and I really wasn't clear on it. I happened to get lucky by getting that one correct, but it was absolute luck by putting portfast on an interface. So I definitely want to review the theory behind here, and the spanning tree and the layer 2 chapters in here are pretty good. I'm definitely not a layer 2 guy. I'm not a layer 2 expert. I'm not even a mediocre engineer. Every time it comes to layer 2, it better be a simple access port or a trunk. Complex layer 2 fabrics, I just don't have experience yet. So all of you doing data center stuff, great job. I know there's a lot of sort of spanning tree stuff on there, and that's just great that everyone's been able to absorb that. I haven't yet, so I'm going to give my try. If anyone's got any cool spanning tree tips, send them my way. I don't want to be burned by it again tomorrow. Okay, so that wraps up my weekend review. Thank you all for joining me this week. I had a couple of off days, but I'm better than ever. So I feel better, no more sickness. That's great. And tomorrow will be day 17. I'm looking at the day tracker. Day 17? Wow. Wow. Okay. Man, we really got to get on this. All right, guys. Great job. Thanks. See ya.